is the One Piece Podcast, episode 862 for March 31st, 2025. My name is Zach, and on today's show, we have a very special guest. He's the translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump and Manga Plus. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, I'm impressed that you got through that whole intro without giving up on it.
I'll give up on it.
All 10 seconds of that.
Soon. I commit to the bit, Stephen. We also have here on a nice, chill, calm episode of the One Piece Podcast, anime recap host Sam Leach. How's it going, Sam?
Hello, anime.
That is your catchphrase. And last but not least, we have Ken O'Connor.
It's my hello nurse.
Yeah. Ken O'Connor, Yamato fan, other epithets, I'm sure. How's it going, Ken?
I have many titles. I am friend of the show. I do many things. And thank you, Zach, for having me on today. This very chill March 31st OPP.
It's an ASMR episode that we're doing this week.
Was it Ken that we called Internet Presence?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I have so many titles from this show now that I can't keep track of it.
Well, you did make it this March, just in time. You made it on the podcast.
The very last day of this
the
March.
very last day of this March. But we also hope to have you on next March, whenever the hell that is.
A year from now.
So it's not 2027. Like,
no,
this coming
2026.
March is going to... So here's the
We're going to have him next April, though.
On April 1st, it'll be...
Is that next April? Is next
my God.
April... Okay.
We are not tormenting the people listening with this again.
No. How old is this joke now? Several years old?
3 years old now, I think, yeah.
Is that?
On opposite day.
Thank you, Sam. On today's show, we're going through... I'm still in my calm mode. We're going through chapter 1144. We also have some piece together, all sorts of it. I will also remind people that as long as Skype is available, you could also leave us a voicemail. 347-497-MAJI. That's 347-497-6254. Call anytime with the questions, comments, and theories. And I'll do a funnier version of that at the end of the show. Please also subscribe to us at Patreon at patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. We have exclusive shows like Forced to Watch 4 Kids. We have alternate titles and images, including from the great Joey Weiser, whose book is out now, The Littlest Fighter. That is his newest book. Please pick it up if you have not. Big thanks to Joey, who's not here, but we will deliver onto him episode titles this week once we come up with them. And I'm sure you already know what it is. We don't, but you do. So you could check out those alternate titles and alternate images. They're all available on Patreon. Just $5 a month, and you get all that and a lot more. Before we get into all that, though, Sam, it is about to be your time for your famous catchphrase. And what is that, Sam?
He's blinking.
You just said it.
I'm scrambling. What's the bit?
You said it 5 minutes ago.
I can't use the same catchphrase twice in a row.
Yeah, that's what a catchphrase is. A catchphrase is something you repeat.
Simply
still
say
trying to come
nasal
up with-
mist.
Oh my God. Okay, the anime is coming back, everyone. The anime is coming back. It's been since October? Right?
October, yeah.
So 6 months, because I know that's my half birthday. So October, when you used to keep track of these things as a 5-year-old. So Sam, how do you feel about finally diving back into the One Piece anime?
It feels very similar to when the anime went on hiatus. I think during COVID, I had a decent sized break, and then when it finally came back, my main feeling is like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I have it in me anymore. I don't know if I'm that person anymore. What if I don't know how to talk anymore? What if I've lost that?
Well, this
that
is the
skill?
practice for that. So this is you warming up. Yeah.
But it's like learning a bike. You like forget it once and you never get it back.
That sounds right.
Wait, that's not how the expression goes.
I think that's exactly how the expression goes.
It's
That's
like
why his
learning a
catchphrase
bike.
is anime. Or a different word that he or phrase.
Japanimation.
Japanimation, is that your new one? You've already changed it.
I will say, listeners, you can't see this, but Sam is sporting the Robin Williams in Jumanji look right now.
True.
He's got the beard going. He's ready to ask what year it is.
He won't be happy when he hears the answer.
When he steps back into the anime role.
I've always wanted my very own Robin Williams from Jumanji, so I'm glad we have Sam Leach with us. It's going to be episode 1123. Sam, from memory, do you remember where we left off in the anime? I think I know the answer to this.
Yeah, we were just finishing up the Kuzan versus Garp on Full Lead Island.
I think we're returning to the Egghead material.
Yes.
Like the proper Egghead material, like actually on Egghead. I saw the episode preview came out. I was like expecting...
It looks good.
It does, but I was for some reason expecting now it looks completely different, but I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah.
Because it's just like, oh, we did this thing for the first time. It's going to look completely different.
Yeah, they spent that whole 6 months just getting 20 episodes ready, and they all look amazing, and it's going to be a completely different show.
They could be ahead of the game now, but they most definitely
I'm sure
are probably on the same
a little
schedule.
bit ahead of the game.
Yeah, I bet you though they get back to that normal like.
What if it just looks like Fishman Island again? Like they just go back to
like
the
not
old
even remastered Fishman Island. They're like, all right,
just original.
Everyone said the remaster was mid, so we're
going back.
Doing it. We're going back.
Speaking of, I saw someone screen cap that really terrible Robin pose where her proportions make no sense was not changed in the Fish. I know this is what people want to hear. Was not changed in the special edition of the Fishman Island.
Apparently, they changed her face, but not the rest of. Like they reanimated her face, but not the rest of her body.
Yeah.
Well, the problem was leaving anime directors in charge of that, who are male.
But apparently, they cut out the Luffy, the infamous Luffy. They just
thank
didn't
God.
show it.
Thank God. And I know that Luffy is getting around. I see on our Discord people posting about that Luffy all the time just to make me angry. I assume.
Does the wiki is that still the Wiki's picture?
I hope not. I hate. Have I mentioned on this podcast before how much
Oh yeah, several times. You hate that Luffy.
Yeah, it's the one you see.
Oh, there it is. Like
an
old friend
on the wiki. Oh.
like an old friend.
Like an old horror movie that you used to watch when you were a child and is kind of imprinted on the back of your brain. So the anime is coming back. There's also going to be, I think, a 40-something minute special the day before. So Saturday in the U.S. and Sunday in the U.S. are when the retrospective and the new episode come out respectively. The day before. I'm sorry, the day. And now I'm getting all confused. Wait, it's in the future in Japan. So, does that mean it comes out Saturday morning or Sunday morning here?
It's going to be our Sunday mornings now.
When will then be now?
When will March be next? Anyway, the one other little piece of One Piece news. I got my volume 111. We're going to probably do that during the next break, I assume. Although I'm sure you and Greg will also be champing at the bit.
I guess it probably depends, what we end up doing.
I finally did listen to the SGS from the previous week, and once again, fantastic. That story, I don't know if I quite had the same reaction as Greg. The episode, the titular story from the SGS, but definitely listen to it. I don't want to spoil any of that. So I look forward to the 111. The 111 recap. I'm looking forward to that.
It's a good SBS batch that we get in this volume.
I've really not spoiled myself.
I don't think there was a single horny question in it, which was kind of shocking.
But I see Sanji with hard eyes. That's like the first thing that I opened up to.
Now you're gonna make me.
I'm gonna make you a liar. Is what I'm.
Yeah, let's just start doing this segment. Right
no. Forget it. I'll close the book after I'm done reading it. I think we could get into the manga. You all ready?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. This is the manga recap for chapter 1144, A Time for Warriors. I think there was a song in the 70s about this. You can read this. That's for the boomers listening. You can read this chapter and all chapters as soon as they come out at shonenjump.viz.com and mangaplus.shueisha.co.jp. Before we get started, I think Adil brought this to my attention. He posted it on our Blue Sky, which, by the way, if you haven't, please follow us at onepiecepodcast.com over there. The comment this week: McKenyu comes by the studio every now and then and plays the One Piece card game with my staff. He sure likes it. The way that's written makes me think, like, why won't he leave my damn office?
Yeah.
That's the resonance. Like, oh God, he's here again playing the card game. I'm trying to write a chapter.
Boy, he sure does love that game. God damn it. Yeah.
I was telling Ken yesterday I was at the Japanese shopping store complex in New Jersey, right near New York, right near the city. And they had a like permanent installment for the One Piece card game, people doing tournaments and stuff, which for me, having not gotten out of the house enough, was like super, just generally, it was like, whoa. Every time I see One Piece in like such a ubiquitous way like that, I like flash back to myself 15 years ago and I'm like, how is this possible? It's really cool. And McKenyu is apparently also doing that. So good for him. Any other comments on McKenyu bothering Oda while he's trying to work?
Not particularly.
I have no proof about that, but I'm almost positive.
Well, it's a story he shared once, isn't it?
Yeah. That McKenyu bothers him?
Or that they played One Piece cards and...
Yeah, he's shared that before. And I think he's also shared that his studio is near his house or in his house. So that I just assume he's like, I'm going to stay for dinner too. And, just ride
really
on the giant
curious.
giraffe.
I mean, I'm sure he thinks it's cool that, there's a card game that you can play and stuff. But I am really curious, like, what does Oda think? Like, when he sees the cards, is he like, man, I wish I had drawn the illustration for these cards? Or is he like, wow, it's so cool that people are doing all these different styles? Like, I'm just really curious as to what he feels about the look of the cards and everything.
No, Oda takes one look at the cards and like, wow, Sam Leach can do so much better. I wish he was doing it on a side project for me.
That
is an inside.
Yeah, I'm not even addressing it because I don't understand it. I'm a little torn. I feel like it could be either way because Oda is very competitive, as I know Greg has mentioned many a time.
He's drawn at least one card.
Okay. Yeah, no, he definitely has
for the card.
But I'm sure like there is a sort of flattery when someone draws something from something.
Right. Like, yeah, I mean, like it's like, I'm sure he loves seeing all the pictures that come in for like Usopp Gallery and.
Yeah, he definitely does. And I'm sure it's kind of that feeling that you would get. It's not like they're trying to compete with him. If anything, I think his competitiveness is about One Piece as a whole. So I feel like as long as One Piece is rocking it, he's like, I'm showing you One Piece is awesome and you're watching or reading it.
Yeah, I think I do get the feeling that if he has any of that kind of like internalized anxiety about One Piece, it is in terms of the success and not so much of like they're taking it away from me, like I need to reassert my control over this series or whatever, because I feel like he's pretty he's very comfortably in control as far as where One Piece
well they
goes.
also have the spin-off series like One Piece in Love and the other one and whatever I don't know what they're all called. The high school one. And he's fine with that going on. It doesn't affect him. If anything, I think those things I'm sure he's thinking this helps build my audience in some way or build off of my audience or keep them engaged, which I know that's like all of Greg's 80-page treatise, which please check out, The End of One Piece at onepiecepodcast.com. But we have to talk about the only thing Ken is able to talk about, the cover page this week.
Hey, I'm only here for the cover page. This is Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 29. Minatomo, the carpenter, and the girls are freed. And we have basically that. We have Yamato standing above all the different girls we heard kidnapped earlier on. We have Tama freeing Minatomo. All the other of the, I guess, the ex-Beast pirates or the Who's Who pirates now are just on the ground defeated. And yeah, that wrapped up pretty quickly, honestly, after just a beating in the last cover story.
I mean,
that's all you need.
Punch racists, isn't that the...
oh, exactly.
Yeah. It's speaking of... Well, first of all, Yamato, once again, big boy.
Gigantic.
Gigantic, yeah. Towering over everyone. Also, where's Who's corpse or body that's passed out in a corner? Suspicious.
Lives to fight again.
It's always... I just get a kick out of the fact that Minatomo, who I know is not technically the Minatomo from Volume 1 fixing the door from the SBS.
Well, it's like his cousin from Wano.
Yeah, that bothers me a little, but the rest of it is funny that this character, this gag character, has he's still in this story, and so
I don't remember seeing this before. This might have been a constant detail that I just completely glossed over, but just looking at this image here, I realized that it sort of looks like he's wearing little ribbons on his kimono, like on the breast and the shoulders, but that is actually the kanji dai, which is like big, and that is the word in the word for daiku, which is carpenter. So it's it's sort of like his little work uniform, I guess.
He's got to get those nails out of his nose. That does not seem safe.
Yeah.
Someone has to tell him that.
What if they're nose hairs? Like Gold
what they
mustache.
probably are. Like Gold Roger. I kind of wish that was still canon. It would take all the power scalers down a little notch, I think. Although, probably wouldn't.
I mean, I think he still considers it canon.
I bet he does.
Even if he's drawn,
does.
Yeah, even if he's drawn Roger differently, he'll probably still say oh no, they still go in his nose.
He gets sexier and sexier, but that's still nose hair coming out of his nose.
Some of the mustache is nose hair. It just kind of weaves into the rest of it.
This just makes me think of Wanze though, with the noodles coming out of his nose.
Yeah.
I like the one girl in the background there is kissing Yamato's hand, kiss the ring. I don't know what she's doing there, but she's holding Yamato's hand and
I think it's whoa, you're so big. Let me look at your hand and knuckles. Whoa. Your knuckles the size of my entire face. I have no idea what's going on.
And Yamato also has the sword back too, the one that the whole pilgrimage is for. So
at least Yamato is in his cover story now. A thing that has not really been the case. Anyway, is one of these the Chuji women?
How can you tell?
Fair.
Yeah.
I thought the one in the middle might have been, but you know what? Everyone has the same hairstyle in Wano anyway. Let's start the chapter.
Alrighty. Starting off here, we have Frankie exclaiming, "Whoa, what is this?" And then Ripley, "Well, what do you think it is, idiot?" And we are...
Believe it or not.
Oh my God. Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yeah, I made that joke 6 times already, so it's not...
Okay.
I wasn't expecting a real reaction. I was expecting a groan.
You know what, Zach? Anyway, we are presented with a panel here of a giant... I took this originally as it looked like a giant robot, almost like a giant robot that's been hollowed out and carved.
Yeah. It makes me think about Nier Automata.
I was gonna say it's very Laputa-esque.
That's
that too.
Yeah.
I love this panel.
It's really this is another rare occasion. I think we had one kind of recently actually, where the first page is it gets released on Friday. And I looked at him oh my God, this chapter is going to be amazing if this is what it looks like. Because this is just my jam. I didn't know what the hell was happening, but I'm yes, this. Actually, go ahead.
Even that little roll, the rounded structure in the front looks very Star Wars-esque to me too. Just kind of the way that the details are hidden in the in the rounded part is very Star Wars-esque.
I think I've mentioned before. I mean, it's almost like a Siem Reapy, like for those who don't know the Cambodian. I was just looking at pictures of this today as why it's in my head, but like the trees growing out of temples. If you've watched played Uncharted, it's that kind of vibe. It's referenced in things. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Makes me think about just like the stark kind of background quality that the art had in like Punk Hazard.
Yeah,
where there was like they were really playing with like the really harsh shadows a lot in this very kind of like detailed, beautiful way.
It also kind of reminded me of the Promised Neverland manga. I don't know if like this stuck. That's like one of the first things that occurred to me. I think there's a later arc where everyone's in a tree for some reason. And I think that I don't know. The artist for that I'm a big fan of, and I know is active, I think, on social media, even though I know people have opinions, and that's fine. I think it's mostly a pretty good manga. Anyway,
all right.
Yeah, I could talk about this for a while.
Yeah, let me continue. So before we dive too deep, Ripley continues. It's been here for ages, and Frankie, it looks like pure science to me. Thank you, Frankie, for that excellent observation. Ripley laughs and says, see, I figured a mechanical man like you would enjoy it more than anyone else. And then Frankie exclaims again, what's a facility like this doing in a kingdom of warriors? And then next page, we have Lilith and Bonnie. Hey, up here, Frankie. I'm glad you found this place. I was going to tell you about it later. And then Bonnie chimes in, it's really cool inside, Frankie. And Frankie responds, Lilith? Bonnie? What are you two doing there? We got lost. Thank you for finding us.
You were doing the Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, Bonnie.
Bonnie, my pebbles. Lilith says we got lost, and Bonnie says, thank you for finding us. And then even a genius can be bad directions, I guess. Ripley continues, I'm glad we ran across you then. I've been hearing alarms in the distance, so there's probably danger in the woods. And Lilith says, anyway, listen to this. I can hardly believe this place. By my estimation, this building stood here for at least 3 millennia.
So she could do carbon dating, but she can't find her way in the woods. I just want to...
Does this mean like did Lilith get Vegapunk's like ADHD or something? Is that what we're learning here?
That's what I think. Yeah, I mean
that's what makes her so evil.
Yeah.
To be fair, geographic memory is kind of a separate thing. I get that, but but also hasn't he invented GPS? I feel like at this point or something like it. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, that would defeat Nami's dream if he had beaten her to the punch.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be a twist.
Nami, here you go. Here's a map of the entire world. Here, I did it for you.
And you just see like the disappointed anime face thing.
Yeah, that's Nami's like generative AI.
Wow, that's
here, Nami. You can color it in. Just stay inside the lines. You can finish it up. Frankie continues. What? Don't lie to me. Do you realize how ancient that makes it? And then Ripley says, I can't say she's wrong, though. Even in Elbaf, we have no record of what this building is. So it's been around for over, if not more than 3,000 years. Yeah, so the more we get into Elbaf, the more I want, like... I know Greg did many years ago, like, a timeline of the series for his website. The more we get into this arc, the more I'm like, okay, now I want things like actually written down, and if I had time, I would do it. Yeah, so this is definitely predates by 2 millennia the Void Century,
right? Yeah.
And are we like, a very clean way for Oda to do it is that it's like a millennia per era.
Right, something like that. It definitely makes you think. Right, it definitely is. I think intended to make you think. Like, okay, this is from like whatever that first industrial, civilization is that we see in the
mural. Yeah.
In the mural, with the big buildings and smokestacks and whatever.
Actually, I didn't even look at the mural. If anything that looks vaguely like this is in there, and I probably should, and I will.
I don't think. I mean, I don't think anything
so either.
specific that you would be able to point to and say this is the same motif as this. But
was that
But we know-
1137?
We know
Go
the
ahead.
ancient kingdom was a highly advanced kingdom. So if this is 3,000 years ago and there's something before that in the greater
Yeah.
One Piece timeline, it would make sense that, okay, this giant, either this was a building or this is a robot that they turned into a building or whatever. Like this seems to be a remnant of the the original ancient kingdom before everything else.
It makes me wonder if there's like multiple generations of ancient kingdoms. Like there was an ancient kingdom that was a legend in our ancient kingdom's time.
right,
It totally
is
could
there
be.
like
I mean,
a cycle of kingdoms coming and going and new ones
I mean, that's how this world
standing
is,
on
too.
top of it.
Yeah, I mean, the real world's like that with civilizations. I mean,
how many lost eras are just like under the ocean right now?
Right. Yeah, that's why I avoided saying ancient kingdom because I think that specifically refers to, the Void Century stuff. But I think this is probably not directly related to that. This is probably just a completely different slice of time.
I mean, like if you wanted to do, I guess you could say like one of those cogs or those machines at the bottom of the thing because they have that similar window. But like, yeah, I don't think there's enough here, obviously. But I know there's people out there who will examine that in detail, and usually that's me, but not now. Sam.
And Lilith is saying, well, then that just makes it all the more worth studying. I think I'll settle down and live here. And then Frankie's like, are you sure you won't get lost? Anyway, let me check out the inside too. And then Bonnie's got a big shocked tongue waggy face. And I'm not used to Frankie just like looking small next to somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
But he's like, oh, what's the matter, Bonnie? And coming up behind them is a big lightning cloud, a big children's dream drawing thing. I like the info boxes are written as like
I like
scraps
these.
of paper.
I really like, and the font you
great.
chose. If this was you,
Vanessa
or,
did
sorry,
a great.
Vanessa,
Yeah, she did a great job with the making it look like that kids wrote the thing that they're afraid of.
Yeah, it's like if the school asked children to draw the thing they're afraid of, and they give them a little like template with the
exactly
what I'm afraid of that you fill in.
it's
with
great.
whatever.
Yeah, I love all of that. Yeah,
And they feel like Big Mom's homies a lot too.
Well, definitely this one does.
this one is very specifically like Big Mom's homie, except less high.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess.
I didn't say more sober.
No.
I just said less high. Sam, please.
Depends on what you're taking.
Yeah.
As
It's
I
a
said,
sh- it's a
Like
sh-
behind you, there's something creepy, and it's a big drawing of a living drawing of a lightning cloud with the nice little the kind of splotchy gray tone, which is unusual for One Piece. And it's what I'm afraid of, lightning. And Frankie is like in shock. He's like, oh, Elbaf, the land of mystery and wonder, huh? And then Ripley's like, nope, this is not normal, even to us. Let's go.
I don't know why Frankie's so. I don't know why Frankie is so shocked. Like Nami carries around Zeus with her at all times. I don't know why a giant lightning cloud is so like. Whoa,
but you could say that about
mystery.
anything.
Yeah, and with the with the children's drawing stylization, like you can imagine that even to the characters, this feels like it's coming from
It
a
looks
completely
weird.
different reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like to imagine I'm just thinking of this because of the way it's drawn, but like when they animate this, I would love for them to use those lightning bolts as like legs.
Legs.
Kind of looks like he has
that
four
too.
legs.
like solid objects. Or...
Yeah, that would be a really
that's-
cool way to do that.
I think
so
that's
creepy.
kind of that's what I assumed was happening. Maybe that's just me.
It'd be cool if in the
Yeah.
anime it was like stop motion or like an Eric
Yeah.
Carlson kind of
That'd be cool.
Or like an outside the lines drawing, kind of like like literally drawn outside the line. Like
Right. Like it's from two different programs, basically.
right. And
Maybe-
Oda also draws like, well, I mean, I guess a 9-year-old could draw pretty well. I'm
What's
thinking
that?
of 3-year-olds.
That squiggle vision technique called?
Squiggle vision?
Squiggle vision.
Squiggle
Oh,
vision
okay,
is
never
what
mind. There
you're
it is.
thinking of.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, an episode of Home
Yeah.
Movies enters
Yes.
the fray.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dr. Katz.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's Dr. Katz. What I'm afraid of,
That's what I'm afraid of.
Dr. Katz.
Talk
And
to
in
me
the
more
West,
about lightning.
in the Western Village, some child was once afraid of something called a Draugr, and the giants are telling orders to each other: sober up and grab your weapons. The fighting Savar is down. Looks like a Draugr to me. And then, very conveniently, they explain that means it is a damn zombie. And it's a big skeleton knight looking thing, little Dragon Quest monster looking dude.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Great design.
and,
we mentioned last time, but I do really like it.
This I assume this is a lady who's like, is this related to the children's daydream somehow? What's going on? Where are the captains? Someone needs to take command. They drank too much and they had to rush to the bathroom. What? And Brooke is saying, this looks awfully familiar. Is it an enormous me?
I'm
Yo ho
so
ho,
happy to
skull
see
joke.
that. I was
Such a
so
dumb
happy
line.
to see that. No, it's amazing. But because when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, it just looks so much like Brooke. But I bet you he won't react to it because Oda's been ignoring Brooke. But this chapter is such a good Brooke chapter. This is the first of the things I'm very happy about.
And one of the giants is like, quick, telling Usopp and company, quick, take the visitors away from the village. Ready? I'm going to move the whole desk. And then Usopp saying, well, hold on. Don't treat us like with kid gloves. We want to fight too. In the small bubble, he says, we want to fight too. And then Jinbei comments, you said that awfully quiet. Whatever this is, it doesn't seem like like business as usual for Elbaf. And Nami's got an ellipses. She's got thoughts. And then somebody's shouting, no, Cullen, you can't.
And on the next page, we do see Colin, and he is beseeching someone, as a child does, like hands on like the trousers of this other giant. He's tugging
Can
at him,
attest.
like, beseeching. Yeah. Why not? I'm a warrior too. I want to fight. And this adult giant says, of course you can't. But I'm the son of Gabon. He says, exactly. You're not Gabon. Almost Gabon means you weren't Gabon. That's a joke for Steve.
All right.
And he just kind of tosses Colin aside. He just says, go find safety with the rest of the children and stay put. Got it? And Colin falls back. And meanwhile, Nami has realized something. What she was thinking about. And she says, hey, Jarl. And he turns around. What is it, girl? She says, there's something we need to tell you about. I'm sorry we didn't bring it up earlier. So some of the details that have not been shared, we realize, this is kind of an emergency. So we should probably make sure everyone is on the same page. And so a few moments later, we see Jarl is at the side of, it's hard to tell, but you can tell from context. These are the two guards from the castle who are all bandaged up, who got messed up by Gunko. And he says, an intruder who looks like red hair in the castle? And the guards are saying, yes, sir. The pair were incredibly strong. One of them used strange powers. And Jinbei, who does read the manga, says, the quickest answer to most mysteries in this world is a devil fruit of some kind. Which is really, it's almost fourth wall breaking for Oda to have him, acknowledge that. But he continues, if these phenomena are unfamiliar to you, then there's a good chance that those folks are behind it all. So he basically, in short, Elbaf is mysterious, and there are some things that I think even we, the reader, don't quite understand yet about how all this seemingly magical stuff works on Elbaf. So we do have to kind of delineate that, yes, there is a line between what is just Elbaf and what is, One Piece in general, magical powers. And so Jarl points his finger He says, inform the entire country that 2 humans unrelated to the Straw Hat crew have infiltrated. Tell me as soon as they're found. And this one guy runs off. You got it, Chief. And then Brooke sagely points out, because of course it was only Gunko and Shamrock who were in the castle, but now we know that there are 2 other people involved. And so Brooke is just kind of helping the story along by reducing confusion and pointing out, do you really think there are just 2 of them causing all of these strange phenomena? Perhaps we should expect more. And so Jarl revises, at least 2. And the same guy, okay, you got it, Chief. And meanwhile, Nami is, she is all in a tizzy. She says, I don't know who these people are, but if they're abducting children in broad daylight, they're despicable. We have to stop them. Very much in character for Nami to want to protect
will murder
the
them.
Yes. And Usopp is wondering, what are they going to demand from Elbaf once they've got the kids held hostage? I've never heard of an abduction like this. And Jarl says, it will not come to pass. They shall not pass.
Usopp definitely has heard of an abduction like this because they were in Punk Hazard and ... But whatever.
You're right. And so Jinbei says, we'll help too. Just give us a ship and someone to move us around. But Jarl refuses. He says, nonsense. You are our guests. Stay in hiding where it's safe. Probably Usopp here is going, but wait. And Jarl's wondering, now where are Dory and Brogy? And someone reports, they're still in the bathroom, Chief. Bunch of lightweights.
We turn the page, and Jinbei is saying, well, if the targets are human-sized, we'll have an easier time looking for them. And Usopp says, yeah, exactly. Let the big guys fight the big guys. We'll search for the intruders. And then Brooke says, the problem is that Elbaf is too huge for us to cover. And Nami, just being the observant one, notices Cullen is pulling a big bag of weapons towards a little rowboat. And he's like, ugh. And then
he's making a childhood Link from Ocarina of Time sounds.
Yeah.
He's dragging the puzzle blocks around.
Yeah. And then he's waiting for a reaction from the crew. He's like, "Huh? You're not gonna stop me? You want to come with me?"
This is the most Vicky the Viking Colin right here in that panel. Yeah. It's great. It's just very Vicky the Viking.
And with stars in his eyes, he's like, all right, then, I'm the captain. And Nami is whispering to herself, like, oh, it's so adorable. She's charmed by the child being a child.
Nami, he's 20 years old.
They are the same age.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, they are. Yeah, he has been on this earth as long as you. That's the thing I don't understand about the aging thing. Like, are they learning slower? Like, what's...
Yeah.
Oh, look, I'm a kid. I'm a kid for 20 years.
Arrested Development, yeah.
And we're off. Man the oars, call in pirates. And every time I read this bubble, I think we're talking about Oars the Giant. And somebody's saying, but you're the biggest one here. You do the rowing. Onward. He's not listening. Elsewhere, with our Holy Knights friends, we got to Gunko with tone dial headphones, eyes closed, inner thoughts. Message to all the Sun world: humans unrelated to the Straw Hat crew have been spotted at Aarust Castle. They have demonstrated overt hostility and are considered ...
I thought you were singing that for a second.
Yeah,
for a moment there, I was like, "Wait a second, were these the lyrics of New World?"
All the Sun world.
No, this is
Gunko's listening
they're listening in on the.
It's two different things happening here.
Yeah,
on the Giants. Although, yeah, but not Gunko. Gunko is she's listening to her music.
Gunko listens to Smyo Yo Ho, that musical news outlet where they took like the news stories made songs out of them.
Oh, that sounds awful.
You don't remember that from like years ago?
Oh my god, Smug, yeah, or not
backing
Smug,
up, backing up, backing up,
Yeah.
backing up, like those songs. No, okay, just me.
I was
All
gonna
right,
say
move
she's listening to MTV Jaka Jaka Jams.
And Sommers, I think, is the one saying, "Yee-ha-ha, it's Gunko's post-meal ritual." And then Gunko says, "No, it's not a ritual. I just like doing it."
So we know it's not noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're just talking.
TDs, huh? I prefer listening to live musical performance. And whoever flubs the first note, bang.
Yes,
nice
a round of applause.
But it's nice to have a hobby you can carry around with you. What's that song you like so much? And she answers, "New World," in big bold letters. And then Summer says, "Yee-ha-ha! What, you got a problem with the one we already live in?" Don't. And then why am I blanking on his name? Killingham. It's like, don't make fun of what other people like, Sommers. Let people enjoy things. And then Sommers is like, "Oh yeah, oh sorry about that. But hey, look, the adults are trying their hardest to save the kids."
He really is he's like a really annoying uncle who just won't shut up. Like, you go to Thanksgiving and he's just constantly ribbing you about like, "Oh yeah, what's that song you like? Yeah, that sounds gay." Like he's so annoying.
Uncle Summers. Oh my god, you're so embarrassing. What's the last record you listen? Well, no one says that. I do want to note, since I don't know if we're going to talk about. Well, I'm sure we will, the New World thing. But it's funny that her greatest fear is on the Straw Hats, and probably her greatest idol is also on the Straw Hats.
What was her greatest fear?
Nika. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. I think that's very funny because we could see either or both reactions from her. There are a lot of Achilles heels walking around the Highland for her, though. I'll say either way. Super interesting.
Do you think this is telegraphing the eventual Gunko Brook either like matchup or meetup? Like what happens?
Wait, are you shipping?
No, I'm not. I'm not shipping Gunko and Brook. But like, what happens when you're the guy
AO3 get on it?
The public knows that Brook is a Straw Hat, right?
Well,
that's a good
hard
question.
to say.
The Soul King poster is his
the
wanted
poster. The poster.
They should, but whether Oda writes it that way or not.
Look, a good song's a good song. Well, she's able to
separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, the art from the artist.
Gunko's gonna run into Brook and like, "Who are you?" He's gonna put on the feather boa. Oh my god, Soul King! Like, have no idea.
A skeleton with. To be fair, it could be any walking
It's
skeleton.
the Clark Kent thing where he takes off the glasses. Like, oh my god, Superman.
There is another giant Brook walking around. So
exactly.
Yeah, I have seen people point out that this also potentially, it's like, oh well, why isn't she wearing pants? It's because Brook is. He's gonna be like, "Oh, can I see your? Oh, I already can see your panties."
Oh my god,
they are a perfect match.
It's fated.
They are. You know what? Gunko deserves it. Deserves the she's pretty awful. She's in the midst of kidnapping children. I'll add though that Sommer's face really captures what you mentioned, Stephen. That is like on the bottom left, like. Chef's kiss awful.
It's that shit-eating grin.
Makes sense. Yeah, like, God, I have met this person and I hate them. But also really good characterization, just generally. I think that's really great. Ken.
All right. Our next page here, we have Saul with 2 shields on his hands, like me with 2 oven mitts from taking a pizza out of the oven.
Oh my God, it is. It's Ken. He's getting a pizza.
Exactly. And Saul's like, this should keep me safe. Now I'm going to stop him cold. And
this is
Chopper,
also what I say when I take pizza out of the oven.
And we have Chopper and Robin like, good luck, Saul. And then we have a panel here. This just reminds me of, do you guys remember the video game Lemmings?
Oh yeah.
So with all the children marching and like they're all following the arrow, it's like he's trying to stop the lemmings from.
Are you
walking
just
up.
referring to lemmings, the creature? Like, you don't have to refer to a video game about them when they're literally doing the thing that lemmings.
Well, I mean, like because he's got the far profile view.
Yeah, that's what I was more referring to.
Oh,
I mean,
it does look like a side scroller, to be fair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the lemmings in the game are like little humanoids. They're not.
They're not
Okay,
animals.
fine. You know, I'll leave because I was being an asshole there for no reason. Go ahead.
Play more video games, Zach.
I am.
You're just playing Zelda. You need to expand your horizons. Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I did play that. A lot of that.
All right, Saul continues. I can tell y'all are just following this stationary cloth thingy, and the cloth is heading right for the fire. You're going to die if you keep going forward, so I'm going to stop you. And Saul gets in front of, who's the first one here is Ilva, I think. Mm-hmm. And he puts the shields out in front, and the thorns appear around Ilva, and Saul goes, there! She stopped! But then, as she stopped, the thorns are poking into her, and the children behind her are then poking into her thorns, and it's all kind of like a traffic jam, like all kind of colliding together.
And like an accordion of thorns.
And the children are screaming, eek! And Saul's like, huh? And on the next page, no, I'm sorry. Ilva, Scald, you okay back there, Olaf? What a disaster. If you stop one, the others damage each other with their spikes. And so he gets out of the way and lets them keep marching. Robin jumps in. This is awful. It's sadistic. Saul, I think our only option is to search for whoever's powers these are. Do we even know if they're nearby? And Saul's like, I don't have time for that. So he whips out the chain, Indiana Jones style, and tosses it. But the kids are going to throw themselves into the fire while we search. I got to try everything I can. If we can't stop them from the front, I'll start with Bjorn in the back. And so he throws the chain to the kid in the very end, who's Bjorn, and is managing to pull him back. And it seems to work, because Bjorn's still asleep, the spikes are going off, but he's no longer moving forward. And Saul goes, there, I got him loose from the line. Now if we just peel him off one at a time. But then suddenly, without warning...
Suddenly, from the side of the branch, I guess that they are walking on, a giant lupine shape, what I'm afraid of, Fenrir. It is the dream monster wolf, is just looming up over the side. He's doing like a Kilroy was here sort of thing with his fingers. And he's like, huh? And then he Saul wonders, are they working together somehow? Who's controlling this thing and from where? So yeah, it's like the timing is so colossally bad that it has to be coordinated somehow to stop him. Just what he thought he figured out, how to separate the kids and get them safe. And Chopper screams. And then we go to the school where Anjay and Principal Tusk are talking. And she says, Mr. Principal, it's not just the Western Village. Other villages are reporting back about similar monsters. And he says, this is happening all over Elbaf? It seems clear these are devil fruit powers at work. We must identify the culprits. And she says, agreed. Which just kind of raised the question of like, wait, so if they're monsters, like, are these just more monsters from the same class that they just sent them elsewhere around Elbaf? Or were all of the villages, did they all have the same homework assignment of dream monsters that that they the Holy Knights are taking advantage of? Well,
how many villages are there? And
I don't know.
I think there's only the one school. I didn't think there was another school. I think they have a centralized school district. I don't think they're big enough for.
He's been very vague. Oda has declined to offer any kind of like solid boundaries as to like how big Elbaf is, how many villages, how many different groups of people there are. There isn't even a name for they just call it the Western Village. So okay, are there 4 villages? Is it Western, North, East, South? Like we don't know. That's all kind of up in the air.
Considering that we haven't seen like the Nightmare Nika, the Nightmare Loki, the Nightmare Mom.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's just
maybe
more
it's
of
those.
I'm sure it's just more of those monsters elsewhere.
I mean, I would
that was
also.
Yeah.
There's north, south, east, and west, and then obviously the Grand, and he answers to the Supreme, and then
Oh my God! I was just gonna say,
of which there are 4.
and then
depending
another
on which
4 above
continuity.
them, or whatever the hell happens next. No, what I was gonna
And then
say
there are
is,
angels.
oh my God, I don't care anymore. I don't watch anymore. It's fine. I know what I was gonna say, Stephen, is that maybe like Norse, like actual Norse countries, that's a sparsely populated place. I mean, also there are giants do seem like a rare species in the world, so it is possible there are less generally of them. I mean, they're also bigger, so they take up more space per capita. So I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
I think Steven makes a valid point, though. Like, Oda is keeping the hierarchy and how this all works very vague. Like, we've only seen two levels of Elbaf. We haven't seen, like, the top level. And I assume, like, the celestial level is like, oh, there's got to be a castle or a king or a leader up there. Like, there's no...
But there
like,
isn't a leader anymore. It's a yeah, you know, that's weird also that because King Hagar, that was his name,
Harold.
right? Harold. What am I thinking of? Hagar the terrible.
Hagar the horrible.
Hagar's horrible.
Forget that. Anyway, whatever his name was, he was on the middle level, even though he was the king, seemingly, because that was the king's throne on that middle level.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's weird that
which is
castle
very
was
odd.
That castle was just over that village too, so it's like,
Yeah.
was he the
And-
king of that village? And like, then
Right,
you have,
right.
You
I have
have
two things
Yarul,
to-
like,
I have 2 things to posit here before I forget. This makes me think of one of the discussions you had in the SGS, the older woman thing. Like, maybe we'll see someone who actually is older. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the astral plane, or whatever it was called, are like much older, like the guardians of the, you know, I don't know enough Norse mythology, but like basically like the very long-lived
Their version of
leaders.
the Aesir sort of.
or like
I'll
Valhalla.
pretend I know that reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Aesir are
that-
the god. That's like Thor and Odin and
Right.
and all
That's
those,
yeah. I need to read more about Greek mythology at some point, especially
Norse.
with this arc.
Norse.
Norse. Oh my God, losing it. My brain is gone. I don't know why. I say that every week, and it's true. No, the other thing I was going to add to that is we also know there is no king of Elbaf right now.
Currently, yeah.
So like it does make me wonder if that astral world maybe just is not even treaded upon by the regular giants here in the lower 2 realms. It's very interesting. I think Steven, I think that's very on purpose on Oda's part, that how vague it's been. Like sometimes I don't think that's on purpose from Oda, but he's also very good at being too hyper detailed about where things are. Point in fact, like Egghead, this is floor B2 in building Northwest Central. You know, like it's
right,
like we're
right.
not gonna. Why are we being told this?
Or to put it another way, like it is on purpose, but is the purpose like to buy himself more time to write more of the story, to figure it out, or is it on purpose because he has a big plan for how it's going to get revealed?
Why not both?
Unclear. What is not unclear, however, is that outside of the Western Village, the Draugr is down. The combined force of the giant warriors has seemingly felled this Sleeptid, and it's not come without a cost, though. There's one of them at least is on the ground. They're like, there we go. Draugrs aren't actually supposed to exist, though, and look how much trouble it was just to stop one of these things. So just one of many monsters here. They're going to get the wounded to the village, and meanwhile we see the big dragon that roars and unleashes a lightning bolt on some of the giants. And this is the Hogger of Nids, Nidhogger. And then we get the I was going to say the Oda boxes, but the child boxes, is that doesn't sound good either.
Oh, I don't like
Shoda?
that.
No, wait, no, that's also
no.
That's worse. Delaney, cut that.
Oh, that one bad and worse, yeah.
no, Delaney. Do what you want.
Zach wants the footage isolated. So now we have Nidhogger, which is the big dragon. I saw that Joey was very relieved because we weren't actually sure which monster was
true.
Nidhogger.
We weren't positive. We were educated guess, I think, was
yes. And when he drew that cover image of the Hogger of Nids, it was correct. It is the big dragon.
Thank you, Abby, specifically for also asking us the question whether he hogged all the Nids.
And then there is also the ghost who has a very dapper top hat with horns.
Very good design. Very good design. Yeah.
Very funny. And the people are realizing, despite the great cost to beat one of these things, and now there's like more, they're ganging up on them. It's no use. There's just too many monsters. We can't protect the village. Flee for your lives. So they're turning. But then we see one particular axe and one particular sword and some very familiar capes and helmets as they say, "It's our turn, Dory. Indeed, Brogy."
By the way, this is the only technique they do together. This is the third time we're seeing it. They only have one. It's their catchphrase, so to speak. Sam.
Here's anime.
They should change it, really.
Hello,
anime
nurse.
is what they yell when they Hakoku sovereignty. And I love this panel. I love both of the panels here. I'm almost upset that they overlap each other because they're both very good. You see the great Eric floating in the sky using Svar technology as the one technique that Dory and Brogy do together seem to pierce through the ghost, the Nidhogger, and at the very least take out a bearded Loki on the bottom there, who had not been child Oda boxed, lacking another term for that. Do I write that down? No, I don't. And everyone's like, yeah, the captains. I mean, the giant pirate crew. Yeah. This is, I assume, them evaporating the apparitions here.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not.
Gotta be.
I assume it's not the most clear of the reaction panels there.
I think that's what it is.
And then posing after their Hakoku sovereignty catchphrase, they say, "Sorry for taking so long. We had to puke up all we drank." So. Such a shame.
This is their triumphant return to the party.
Sorry, we had a puke.
It sounds like he keeps saying hot cocoa sovereignty, so I just imagine them puking it out and then like rallying with hot cocoa. Here we go.
Get some hot cocoa. That'll get us. Oh wait, this was a terrible idea. Brogy, why'd you suggest the little marshmallows?
Is running.
We'll exterminate all these monsters. Isn't that a catchphrase from something?
It's Sam's catchphrase.
You folks help the children. Actually, to be fair, they've exterminated monsters in the previous arc as well, or tried, at least. Mm-hmm. And we get another shot of the great Eric on the other side of the page here. I love this ship. Love it. Love it. Love it floating in the air, too. Excellent. Here's the person announcing the merchandise as it comes out. It's the Great Eric. Svar edition. You're going to get it now, all you random monsters. And someone here is saying, why'd you bother to even sober up? And again, by sober up, we mean puke. I want to make that clear, underlined. That's not sobering up, although it does help the process. Anyway, randomly, here's Scopper Gaban, which, to be fair, that's how he always comes into the scene, randomly and unexpectedly.
Well, if you look in the
I was
bigger
gonna say,
picture, you can see that he is actually the one asking them why they bothered to sober, because he's sitting on top of the shield there.
I'm gonna be honest. I did not, even upon read, very hard to see because he's just a little dot. But I assumed it was him. But also, why is he here? Yeah. Anyway, he's got his sake, I assume, saying, with the what do you call those jugs? I forget what they're gourds. Or is it just they're just called gourds? I feel like there's got to be a more fancy term for that. Anyway, saying, what? Look, it's Mr. Ya, the mountain eater. Eating a... Oh, no, he's just having sake. This ship is unstoppable. And Mr. Ya, Scopper Caban, just laughing. To be continued next week. That'll do it for 11:44. Ken.
Is mountain a slang term?
For what?
No, we've talked about this already.
No, I don't think we did talk about this, but it definitely crossed my brain.
He's called Mountain Eater because when he was defending Roger, he cut off the entire top of that mountain, like clean
I think
off.
Sam's getting at something.
Yes, I know. We joked about the other.
He's not called Mountain Cutter.
That's true.
That's true.
Or Mountain Searer, or whatever the hell he did. Mountain.
No, I got a better one. It's perfectly. There's no double entendre. Mountain climber. That's a good one. For
Yeah, you know what? That's much better. Steven, did that cross your mind? Or is that just Sam?
We definitely made that joke in the Discord. I feel like.
Oh, in the Discord, we probably did.
Yeah.
I don't think we did on the podcast.
Because like I know I had this.
It
thought.
definitely. I mean, just given his profession.
The Professor of Love. Yeah,
Professor of Love. That I mean, he's like asking for it there, especially if he created it. Does that work in Japanese though? I don't know double entendre enough.
I don't know. Yeah, it's a little trickier maybe. But
yeah, because Oda would do a pun like that. Absolutely, I feel like he would try and sneak that in.
He would make cunnilingus jokes.
You don't think so? I feel like Oda's just has no shame.
I feel like there's a type of crass that you expect in One Piece.
Yeah.
But like if it were really subtle, I don't know. This is not important.
I think it's
Sam,
subtle
thank
enough.
you for derailing us. Ken, what did you think of the chapter?
I was trying to do that.
I know, and you
Glad
did
you
a great
noticed.
job. I was being sincere at how great you were at derailing us. Ken.
Fun chapter. I actually like this one. I know people kind of label it as like a setup chapter, like just a lot of characters getting moved around into place and whatnot. But I liked it. There's a lot of stuff going on in Elbaf right now that I'm finding really exciting. I'm really curious about the what'd you call them, Steven? The sleep tids? That's the name?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm really curious about what their power level is, because we had that thing last chapter with the salt. We're like, oh yeah, the salt's 0 calories and provides 0 energy. That's because it's made out of dreams. So originally when I saw the sleep tids, I thought, okay, these are just gonna be big, terrifying creatures that are gonna be more of like psychological warfare. And like, oh, we better not touch that. That's a Dragor. Or like, oh, it's the Nidhogg. Don't go near that. So I'm surprised that these things seem to be corporeal and actually fighting and doing damage to the towns. Because I figured, like, okay, if the salt is no energy, no calories, what does that mean for, like, is, like, the stronger the nightmare, the more powerful they are? So I want to learn more about Killingham's power and how these things actually work more than anything else. I love the stuff in the... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it does seem a little strange that, like, we've had a bunch of sort of fights with them, and like you would think if there was going to be sort of like a surprise, like, oh yeah, these are the 0 calorie versions of these things where they're actually just kind of pushovers, like Usopp illusion style, like we would have seen that by now. So it is kind of strange that Oda hasn't, I guess, specified that a little more in these fights.
Yeah, because like the only, like, if you go back to the chapter, like most of them are just kind of like standing there like scary and imposing in most of the panels, but the Nidhogg actually fires like some kind of blast from its mouth, and it seems to do damage. Yeah. Like, all right, is it actually doing damage? Are these giants like really hurt, or is that like, ow, like somebody just like flicked me? Like what? Like,
right?
I can't tell. And then the fact that Dory and Brogy are able to take them out in one hit at the end. I don't want to like say like, oh, Dory and Brogy, that's not a strong attack, but like, all right, they were taken out with a hit. So
I did think it was notable how like the giants were talking about like how hard it was to take down that Draugr. So like you imagine like they're pretty strong by modern One
Dory
Piece
and Brogy
standards.
are, I think. I mean,
top
remember
tier,
they decimated kids.
Yeah, like the just reminds me of like one of my favorite things about the Oars fight is like all this effort to like take him down, and then obviously he just like gets back up again, and like, you know, each phase of the fight is manageable, but it's like the onslaught of like one after another.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'm just being a little nitpicky because I just want to know more about Killingham's power and the extent of how because even like I think a couple chapters ago with the giant snake, Saul and the principal took that out in one hit. Like, well, I guess 2 hits, but I just want to know how powerful these things are because I took them more as they were supposed to be psychological and to like kind of bring fear to the children or bring fear to the parents or whatnot. But
it was more to distract. I feel like, right? It's supposed to be a distraction so people aren't able to stop the children from being kidnapped, right?
Yeah, I guess
it's not supposed to destroy Elbaf, I assume. Like that's not the immediate goal, at least.
I think it just goes back to what Shamrock was saying, like make a game using your powers, like cause as much chaos and fear, and like the knights they're dickheads from what we can tell. So like, sure, go scare a bunch of children, cause a bunch of damage, like do all this. Like it's awful. It's like the worst human beings are using their powers for these reasons right now, without any.
Yeah, maybe don't give the worst human beings any sort of power would be a way to go. But...
just one last thing. I'm surprised Scopper Gaban is back already. After he walked away, I'm like, all right, we'll see him at the end of the arc for like, because he said like, come find me again if Elbaf is still standing. So that
at the end,
yeah. But the fact that he's back already, like, all right, I didn't expect him to be back so soon. So I'm excited to see what he does. I'm assuming he's gonna run into his son at some point, and then have a confrontation there. And I love the great Eric being able to fly. At first, I was wondering, like, why didn't they use the flying mode originally when they got to Elbaf? They had to take the rainbow up.
But you can't, I think, until...
Yeah, the clouds don't work on the lower levels. They only work on the middle levels and above. So, but yeah, good fun chapter. A lot of things moving around, but I'm excited to see it all kind of come together.
That just made me think, though, I guess Elbaf is kind of also a sky island in a way because it's at that level in the sky, maybe? I don't know quite. Like, I don't know the height specifically, but it kind of fits. Sam?
I kind of loved this chapter, like, a lot. I thought the science lab at the beginning was super interesting, like the 3,000 years bit is like great intrigue since we've been like so focused on the 800 years ago void century for so long. And like the you know, like we're always talking about like why doesn't it feel like Frankie did much on Egghead, right? Like why wasn't that his arc? And you know, and the possibly naive hope that maybe that they'll still somehow turn that around in Elbaf, and now it's like instantly, directly, Oda's just spelling it out to our face. Oh, here's an opportunity where I can do exactly that. And I loved I just kind of like I love the sort of like the bullshit logic of getting like Lilith and Bonnie there too. They just got lost and ended up in the same place. Like I love that sort of you know, just kind of like stretching the contrivance of manga storytelling,
but also pointing it out very specifically.
Yeah, like I think it's funny, and I think it's like it's a fun kind of convenience for the author where you can, you know, it's almost like I almost feel like part of the goal of Shonen Jump manga is you should be trying to see how much of that stuff you can get away with when possible. And another thing I've been thinking about lately, I've been thinking a lot about Bink Sake, and I'm like just kind of mulling over what the secret of that song could be. Like are we going to eventually learn what the origin of that song is? Is there going to be like a Binks in the ancient century flashback? Is there going to be a character named Binks? And so like when I see this scene with Gunko and the tone dial, I'm like, okay, so what chances are there for a similar parallel to happen with Brooks' music? Where there's like a kind of we were witnessing the origin of a sea shanty in the future, and at the same time also we're getting this very fascinating dynamic where even within this group of fascist cops, basically. Even among them, there's a spectrum. There's a liberal teen versus the conservative uncle dynamic, which is fascinating. And
now I'm just imagining cops listening to very leftist music, and I could totally see that too.
Yeah,
without realizing the
hell yeah, Bulls on Parade. It's such a sick song. Yeah,
I'm
Rage
positive that's a good example. Yeah.
And so I'm just I'm thrilled to find out where the Gunko Brook what the developing storyline there is going to be is something I'm super excited about, and I'm fascinated about where like Sommers is going to go. I wasn't here the last couple chapters, but like the whole love thorns hedgehog's dilemma power is like I'm like how emotional is that going to be? Is this completely like just a aesthetic thing where it's or is there ever going to be like a actual like an emotional painful reality to it,
right?
For our heroes. So yeah, like I'm like every page, and I love the final spread. I kind of love the doubling up of the. We see the Great Eric twice, but like once far away for the action panel and once like close up for the establishing shot. I think that's just a cool kind of visual rhythm.
Anything else, Sam?
That mostly does it. I think there's probably some other thoughts I'm going to be having, but
we have time.
It's just a lot of little things that added up to just a great chapter.
Yeah, I guess I would say it's a chapter that's well executed, but I think because of its placement, like there's only so much it can do to move the story forward. Like obviously the very ancient sort of precursor civilization building, if you will, is very exciting, but we don't actually learn anything about it in this chapter. And there is a little bit of stuff in this chapter, and I feel like I sort of joked about it a little bit, like stuff like Brooke just sort of offhandedly mentioning that, it seems like this is pretty chaotic, so maybe we should look for more than two people, which strikes me as very much like Oda kind of trying to sweep away, like, should they really understand who they're looking for, and just kind of wiping away the possibility that like the Giants misunderstand and they're looking for the wrong number of people or something. Like just a little bit of like, whoops, we have some loose ends here. Let me just adjust them, in plain sight so that we know everyone is that the people are caught up on the situation as far as the readers know it too. So that is maybe not the most elegant way to handle things, but it does feel like the chapter as a whole was kind of streamlining things and trying to make sure that the characters are focused on the right details as the readers should be as well. And like it's kind of fun, I guess, to see like Saul, sort of trial and error, like doing what he can to try to stop the kids, but it does feel like it's not really like this isn't supposed to be the solution. We're not watching him figure out and solve the situation. It's more like, okay, well, let's put our characters into a difficult situation and show them struggling against what Summer's powers can do, and therefore kind of heighten his menace indirectly, and also kind of heighten the stakes, the emotional stakes for the characters trying to protect the kids and only having middling success before inevitably the solution is going to end up being, well, we have to just beat we have to find these guys and beat them in order to stop these powers. But obviously we're not there yet, which is why this chapter can feel a little frustrating or a little unsatisfying in certain ways. But there's some fun action. There's some fun conversations. So I think overall it was a fairly entertaining chapter, even if it was a bit on the shorter side. But what about you, Zach? What did you think?
Yeah, I agree with Sam. I mean, I agree with everyone. I think this was a really fun one. I'm actually, I look, I think every chapter of One Piece is not supposed to be self-contained. I mean, we do it every week because that's when they come out, and they're supposed to have their own value week to week. But I mean, we're in a bigger story here, and I think this one does a very good job of what it's trying to do. And I think it this is not going to be like the chapter I remember, but it will have a lot of scenes, I think, in it that are going to prove very important to what's to come. I noticed as you were talking, Stephen, that the things children are afraid of, these sound effects even have that like same kind of design Oda did, like the rumbling, like the like the outside the lines,
the go,
yeah, which I noticed with Fenrir in particular, the glare. The only look, I think Vanessa did a really phenomenal job with this. I would just say it needs a few more accidental lowercase letters, but I understand that that's a manga lettering thing that is not done.
Sure.
I was going to say
I get
throw
it.
a backwards R in there every now and then.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what it needs. That's what it needs. Backwards letter. Yeah. Which is actually a phenomenon. I don't remember what it is that kids do. Like I think all children.
Oh,
do
really?
For some reason. Yeah. There's a brain processing thing. I don't know. Yeah, I love all of the kids' creations are so fun to just see causing havoc. Yes, for people, I don't want them to cause havoc, obviously, but they're really fun designs. And I don't know what it looked like in the Japanese, the lettering, but it really added a whole other level of fun to it here, for someone who's like a fan of that sort of thing here. So yeah, again, my compliments to Vanessa on that. I think the very first page and kind of what comes out of that is something that's going to be very important. And I've been, I think since Egghead, I've been talking about how kind of Elbaf could hold all of the answers to what we're looking for just because it's been around for so long, which also explains why Oda's probably going to incinerate it in the story. Or at least in part, because it probably should hold, the answers in some regard. And pondering the astral level of this, really, the less we hear about that as the story goes on, the more curious I am as to what that's supposed to be. I think we talked about the Tree of Might kind of tree that you see from outside the surface. Look, I don't think that's scientifically going to make sense, but I could see that being possible in One Piece. It's not completely unreasonable here that it goes into space. I'm going to talk about space and the moon here. This is my job. So yeah, that mural really sparked something, I think, in me that had, I think we got some of that during Egghead, but that Endgame stuff is so much fun. And this just adds a little grain of salt on top of that, or whatever, sugar. I don't know. Frankie is very funny throughout this too, because he's just the reader pointing out how this you getting lost doesn't really make any sense in the story, and there's a lot of fourth wall stuff there. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think of what else that hasn't been discussed. Oh yeah, Brooke. Generally, this was a really shining moment for him, even though he wasn't really in it. He got his really lame joke in. Love it. The stuff with his music actually, getting through to someone who is his enemy and a shitty person is really fun story wise. And it's actually, I think, So Alex, who I'll mention it now. I want to congratulate him because he had the baby in the time between. Yay! Sorry, I'm doing this unceremoniously. I was going to say later, but also very well timed. He was on the podcast last week, and it happened in this time. But huge congratulations to him and his family for that, which I'm sure we'll talk more about at the end. But this is like such an Alex thing, because I think he's been waiting for, like, the one thing we haven't seen about Brooke is his fame and people recognizing him, and like, why isn't he more of a presence in the world? And we're finally getting a little of that. It took like 10, 15 years, but here we go, a little morsel of famous Brooke. And I want to see more of it, but yeah, I think this is the first little bit of that. I want to see more of it. Colin is adorable. I actually do agree with Nami's reaction, even though then she should have probably been like, maybe don't take a wooden sword into battle right now. This is probably not going to work the way you know what, whatever, we're there. I guess we'll be the babysitters as we head into a ferocious battle. But yeah, I think we talked about it a little, the tea party is these that I was going to say CP0 that the Holy Knights are having is very funny. They are very funny, distinct characters. But they are fucking awful people. And I think Oda is doing a really good job doing both of those things. Gunko is the only one where I'm like, you're humanizing her too much. She really shouldn't. Like, I know Oda loves making his villains turn into good guys, but like Celestial Dragons, I feel like you can't. And I know we had Don Quixote, what's his face? Yozgard. But like, that one I think is more earned. I get it. Like, and he died, which is he suffered for what he did in the past. But like, you can't, it's when you humanize these people, I mean, ironically, they don't think of themselves as human, but in the other direction, it's a really dangerous place to go, I think, at times, like these guys in particular. So, and also Gunko just looks so anime, once again, Sam's catchphrase, that, that just scares me. Like, don't get figures of, although on the other hand, I would totally get 5 elders figures, but only because they're it sounds so lame to get 5 old men, as figures. That's why I would do that. But I'm getting really off topic on my own podcast about anyway, I do also love the last panel. I think the stuff that he does with the drawing, the creatures that the kids are afraid of is really cool. The markers he's using, I'm wondering if he's doing it in color or not, because it's the same kind of thing he did with the mural. It's that same kind of art. This is not my forte, but
the texture work,
texture work. Thank you. Yeah, I wonder if he did draw a color version of that mural, or if he just used black and white markers for it, which is more likely. But
because normally manga works the way it does because it only captures like solid whites and solid blacks, and so they use the dots as the gray.
True.
So if it's something that's supposed to have this splotchy look like this, like where is that? I mean, that's very easy to do digital. If
I was going to say this might
add the digital element on top. Or they scanned it differently, or if these really are just stealthily still screen tones.
Well, it does look like when you zoom in that there is screen tone there.
Yeah. Yes, I think so. I think they are just like layered screen tones on top of each other.
But I don't know like the process as to where screen tones come in into the like.
That's like
traditionally. Yeah, traditionally they are like physical. Like they're sticky sheets that they cut and then they peel the back off and they stick them onto the paper. I don't think that's what is happening here. It's some other method because it's way too complicated to do that. Yeah.
I mean, I guess because I could imagine if like on one, like if it's like layered, like you do one pass where it's, and you do it in like kind of the circles you get the shape you like, and then you do another pass for the darker layer, and they're kind of like overlapping and doubling up and making it look darker.
I mean, is it possible that he's like fully drawing it and then they put the screen tone over it? I guess is the question I have.
Yeah, I mean that's normally he usually has he like inks it, and then when they're doing like filling in the blacks and stuff, that's also where they're putting in screen tones.
Yeah, which makes me wonder, like, if he's inking it, why not just ink it with color marker? Like I assume you would have.
That's the other thing is like back in the day they used to do a lot of 4-color, which is just black and white and red basically. Like if you've ever seen some old like manga from the 80s or before,
Dragon Ball.
Yeah, Dragon Ball, the first chapter or so is like that. It used to be a very prevalent thing in manga. Instead of doing like 1 or 2 full color pages, they would have like, half the chapter would be in red as their accent color, and that's what it would just look like this when it got turned into the book, because they would revert to monochrome black and white.
Yeah.
Also, kids draw in color. I mean, like obviously these will be in color.
Yeah.
In the anime in whatever year that it comes out, but yeah, I'm just interested in what's actually happening. And I think someone asked on the SGS a question like, what, do you think Oda's gonna release all of the secrets when the series is over? I just want to see the sketches and the process stuff and his notebooks, like that kind of stuff. And this reminds me again how I want to see that. That's it. I talked too long about this chapter. Any other thoughts? We got pieced together, so why don't we get into that right after these messages? This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and then put a little pizza in the oven for all of us, I think. But you have to put both mitts on before you... Anyway. Sam.
Put it on the pizza.
Yeah. Sam, what's our first segment?
Our first segment is, pretend I'm saying this in Ed's voice, this piece.
By the way, it has to be mentioned every time Sam's on the show. He is currently reclining so far that he's technically on video, but no one sees him. So, Sam, with that visual in mind, what's our diss piece this week?
Our first diss piece this week comes from Big Mike, who says, "What would Troy McClure do if he went on vacation to Fishman Island? You may remember from such classic Simpsons episodes as A Fish Called Selma and The Simpsons 138th Episode Spectacular."
Yeah.
That's funny, the you may remember him from. You should have done much more obscure episodes of The Simpsons, though. I think that no one would know that.
Well, I mean, you got the fish. He's in a fish.
No. Yeah, he has some sort of thing for fish.
Yeah. He's doing. It's the same storyline as the episode of 30 Rock with
yes, it is the body
James
pillow.
Franco.
James Franco,
the body
right.
pillow. Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, this is a reference I get.
Yeah, it was that. It was Selma, Marge's sister. Is like she's like a beard for him, basically. Like
right.
she's his she's his quote unquote.
Is he
wife.
gay?
No, he wants to fuck fish or a dolphin or something like that.
It's not clear.
Yeah.
They make it very vague.
Right.
Now, hold on. I feel like I've seen at least all the classic Simpsons episodes once.
It's the one.
Yeah,
it's the one where Selma is dating McClure. It's a very good episode.
Yeah.
In that it's the one with chimpanzee to chimpanzee. Come on, it's the one the Zoomers hate for some reason. So I hear that specific gag. Anyway, yeah, I think he'd be the Scopper Gabon of Fishman Island, I think. Is the answer to that question. Yeah. He'd be the mountain eater. What's the
fish eater?
The sushi eater, the fish eater. The fish eater of
he'd be playing the field in Fishman Island for sure.
I hate all of what I have said this week.
He's playing the ponds.
This episode is titled after a mistake I made. The whole episode was a mistake. I have made a huge mistake. What's the next question thing, Sam?
Our next disc piece comes from Misty Quigley's BA, aka Slayer King. Hello, my fellow NID consumers. If y'all would make up some quick lines for what each of the Straw Hats would put if they had to be on Tinder, what would they put? Have a great week.
Oh. I never used the apps, so that was after my time. So I'll throw it to the two of you, I assume. I'm assuming.
Wait, what's it asking exactly?
Yeah, Sam, say it.
What would the Straw Hats put on Tinder for their like profile line or something?
Brooke would just be like, I'm 9'0".
That's a 9.5 on Tinder though. So
I was gonna say, is that whatever.
Somebody would message Zorro like you up, and he'd say no.
I have ideas, but I feel like they're too like.
Yeah, they probably.
I can't. Yeah, I
But
can't say them.
for-
No, they're not.
I mean, he's asking, why don't you do a different app then, like a more? Well, I'm trying to think of a. I
Go
know
for
this is
like
not
Christian
my...
date or something.
TDs
Farmers.
and
Isn't there
TD.
the farmers only one that I know of?
All right, Choppers on Bumble,
I know
Robin's on
Coffee
Hinge.
Meets Bagel.
Oh, that's more of a Robin one. Probably.
TDs and chill.
That's the name of an app.
No.
Video
That's more of a
transponder
Netflix thing.
mail and chill.
Video transponder sale. That really rolls off the tongue. You see, I think creating the version of the app is a more fun game here than the actual profile
Yeah.
for me. Like, what would the
Yeah.
version of Tinder be? LBAF is a gigantic Tinder box. So that's...
Yeah, and it's snails, so they all say, "Oh, slime right, slime left."
Oh my God!
That
Shut
is
up.
gross. That joke also belongs in 2015 where it came from.
Yeah.
And Caribou's like, finally, an app for me.
Ugh, get out of here. Satori, Wanze, Caribou. Am I swiping the right way?
You are not.
Yeah. What's
I
next?
am not. It's mirrored. It's the video.
Oh,
It's
right,
mirrored.
right.
I tell myself. What's the next question, Sam?
The next disc piece comes from SNP, who says, Hey, OPP, it's nice to see Yamato got all the ladies' attention. But about Gunko, what are the odds she is the Revolutionary Army's mole in the Holy Knights? The goggles is a huge part of the RA's design. Now she is Brooke's fan too. Is that why she didn't wear pants? Because she hears all the panty jokes from Brooke. That's another. I mean, her being the Revolutionary Army having a mole in the Holy Knights would be interesting.
That would be really interesting.
That is interesting. And possible.
I somehow doubt that telling panty jokes was part of Soul King's shtick. Maybe it was, but
do you think he would resist?
There's a 50-50 chance there.
Do you think
I'm just
he's
saying,
like, this isn't on brand? I'm gonna rein it in.
No, at the end of New World, like the extended version of New World, Brooke sings about panties at the end.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's an actual
But
thing.
you know, to be fair, that would be a really good reason for that awful design choice.
Yes.
Like, that would be very funny. It's ridiculous.
I still want to know why, because like when we got introduced to Summers and Killingham, they were given the Saint moniker. Gunko was not. And like, so I'm like, okay, is she a celestial dragon?
Maybe she
Is
could be
a saint?
redeemable
Yeah.
in that situation. She could be redeemable.
This is not a ridiculous.
No, it's a good theory.
It's
actually.
there's definitely something a little weird with the way that she was introduced compared to the others. So
Correct.
She's
Something to look for.
Yeah, she's very. Her whole thing is very odd comparatively. So I like that. I'm a subscriber of that theory. You've convinced me. All parts of that theory, including the part about the pants. Next question, Sam.
Especially the part about the
Especially
pants.
the pants.
The fifth sibling, Kramato, in Terabang, says, Ahoy, OPP, banger chapter as always. Love being reminded how big Yamato is. I want him to cradle my tiny 6-foot body in his huge arms. So dreamy. Whoops, Killingham
Can't
took my
calm down.
dreams and put them into disc piece again. Dang it. Anyway, my question this week is, Where's Mom? The greatest fear of all. Why is she not in this chapter? If it weren't for Big Yamato, I'd feel like Oda is a hack. Have a great week.
You see, I think the mom is actually Oda's fear, judging from his previous comments. Yeah.
That would be really fun, though. Yeah, if we got to see the mom, just wrecking house somewhere else in the in Elbaf.
I want to see like true Obahan mom though, acting Obahan.
Ripley is Mom.
Ripley is a mom.
That's mother, but mom is a different.
Wow, I actually have a 11...
podcast episode.
So I don't know if this is this specifically referring to Big Mom because it just says mom.
No, it's the mom. It's the sleep-tid mom. It's the Obahan with the perm hair.
Was that one of the drawings?
Yes.
It was also one of the comments they made. Yeah.
What I'm most afraid of is my mom, and then there was a mom in the
and yet my dad
spread.
I've got chapter 1142 open, and we still haven't seen the bear with the helmet, the bird,
my favorite,
the darker Nika. There's a different ghost. There's the mom. So there's still tons of these sleep tids we have not seen,
and possibly others.
Correct.
Then,
yeah.
So
Oda didn't say this was exhaustive.
In my mind, apparently.
I really like the sleep tids, though. I'll say. Yeah, go ahead.
Next disc piece comes from Straw Hat Pirate 9, who says, I'm laughing so much at the Giants wanting to keep Luffy's crew out of the fight and safe. It's sweet, completely misguided, and unnecessary, but sweet. Absolutely love that they have teamed up with Colin, who's going to get so adorable. Lastly, Gunko's a Soul King fan, huh? At least she has great taste in music. I hope the Straw Hats are able to use this to their advantage. And if not, I hope Brooke is the one to take her down in some way.
Now I'm the Revolutionary Army Mole fan. Sorry, Steven.
Yeah, that's a good theory too. We didn't mention it, but the thing about the Giants trying to be so protective, it definitely goes to the sort of the classic Northern European trope of guest rights and stuff like that, where if you're a guest in someone's house, it's like a sacred gesture basically, and being welcomed in means that you the host is sworn before all honor that they are not going to just kill you in your sleep or whatever. It's a very custom based thing that happens. So I think that's Oda definitely picking up on that, and he even I want to say the author comment on volume 2 of the manga or something like that is a Viking poem about, come on in, you have to sit by the fire to warm your backside. You can't sit next to the door or something like that. So he's known about that for as long as, the manga's been going. So I thought that was a nice kind of way to demonstrate that influence within the giant culture. So that was a cool thing.
Next disc piece is from Sailor Karna, who says, Hey OPP, I just have one question. How real are the monsters? Are they made of ink like Conjuros or light like the illusions from Egghead? I feel like water could defeat the monsters. Yeah, I forgot about the Conjuros drawings. They feel like they have a similar vibe.
Yeah, I mean, I think just based on the evidence, we have to assume that these are tougher than either of those, but you would imagine there has to be some sort of drawback. They can't just be literally the exact same as if there were, giant Jurassic Park monsters all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 0 calorie thing is still that's a really interesting way to weave in an explanation on his power. That's a good show don't tell kind of thing.
Oda does a lot of weird things like that. When we had what was Big Mom's first husband's name? The chef.
The first one, Pound
Streusen.
Oh, that's not her husband.
Yeah.
That wasn't her husband.
Well, people think that he is.
People think it.
Yeah.
No.
Anyways,
I
ahead,
think
Sam.
that's a little.
I thought he was
reasons.
Parasparrow's dad or something.
That's what everyone assumes.
That
but
was
That's
the theory.
just. I think that's a theory. Yeah.
But anyway, Streusen's whole thing was he can make food out of anything, but the food didn't taste good.
Right.
So he had to make
Right,
the food, make
yeah.
the food himself. So it's like one of those weird drawbacks to the powers that Oda likes baking in sometimes. Whether it amounts to anything or not, we'll see. But
yeah, it's a good question. I don't know, but I'm sure it has some. But they're also they're stronger characters presumably, so they're presumably much more capable than
I would assume
the
so.
other examples. Yeah.
And our final disc piece comes from What I'm Reverse Eye-Fraid Of. OPP, it's a real shelter in place from a severe storm warning chapter. Anyway, Jinbei seems to have done a vague little those people about the Gods Knights. Do you think he somehow knows about them being here from reading One Piece? Or is he just pretending to know what's going on?
I think he was.
It does seem to be the lampshader this
thing.
week.
Yeah. I think I used the. I mean, I know this comment is probably kind of poking fun at the wording there, but the those folks there was just kind of specifically to make it clear that he's referring to the characters mentioned previously, since it's kind of removed by a couple dialogue bubbles. So sometimes you kind of have to use a little bolding to make the point that. Like, it's not just a regular, you're referring to something from a previous part of the conversation. But I
imagine the celestial dragons pulling like, what do you mean, you people?
Yeah.
You know what? You guys deserve it. They're barely people. They're dragons. So that's it for this piece.
That is our disc piece.
Let's travel up into the skies with Ken.
Blue Sky Pier, yeah.
Oh, well, I actually tried.
Not bad, right?
Okay.
Yeah, not bad. All right, our first Blue Sky Pia is from Cameron. Hi, I can't really verify this aside from the fact that Kirins appear to have strong links to fertility and prosperity, but I found at least one person describing a myth in which it made a dream come true. And then Cameron links an article about various Kirin folklore, but one story of a Kirin. A man had a dream of a Kirin and a baby boy. Wife couldn't get pregnant. Had the dream, saw the Kirin. Wife got pregnant. So that's the one tie to Kirins and dreams, because apparently a lot of people had questions about Killingham's power, because Kirins aren't associated with dreams that often, but there's an article here that links it, so.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, it's curious, because, again, I wasn't questioning it when I read it. I don't know too much about Kirins myself. But, like, all right, it's a dream power. Just kind of, like, took it at face value.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Joey Cobalt. I have not seen it pointed out anywhere, but I have thoughts of Gunko possibly being related to Emu. Between a lot of her face being covered, the one eye similar in design, her arrow power being similar to the arrow that attacked Sabo in the throne room, but wait, her outfit being very similar in design to the female Egghead designs, and the legs looking mechanical, making me think she might be a clone of Emu, specifically made for combat. Her name possibly also meaning army child kind of confirms it for me too. As such, it kind of feels like we might be getting a preview of Emu, with Gunko fearing Nika and seeing some of her quirks, especially her enjoying Brooks' music this chapter.
That would be very interesting. I mean, it would definitely be like, oh, this is the one character from this rogues gallery that is going to be like the important one in the future, as sometimes happens in anime when it just seems like a relatively unremarkable character, and then
Lucci?
Actually, right there, and then they have some super important link to something else that they become super crucial. It is interesting. I mean, I didn't really think that much about it, but I do remember when we first saw her using the arrow power, like that. It was sort of like that voice in the back of my head that was like, "That does, wasn't that Emu's thing in that one scene?" And I kind of forgotten about that because of all of the other stuff with the 5 elder demonic powers. But it does. There's a couple, familiar aspects to her design for sure.
The Cyborg 009 vest. It's 11:36, by the way, is when we get the box for her, and it does just say her first box just says Holy Night.
Yeah.
So, but she had another
family
one later,
name.
right?
Yeah.
Well, Shamrock. Oh no, Shamrock had a family, but
yeah.
I guess the rest did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gunko's just Gunko right now, which is
it says
odd.
Gunko, Arrow Woman, Arrow Fruit.
Yep.
With that ridiculous outfit. Yeah, I don't know.
You hate that outfit, Zach.
No, I think it's just. I don't. I just think it's ridiculous that she's not wearing pants. But the Brooke thing, actually. Also, it's the
Zach
yeah. Go ahead.
Zach thinks women should cover up.
Yeah, no one needs to see those ankles.
Is that what you fear the most, Zach? No pants.
Just a pair of no pants.
No pants.
Just the absence of pants walking around. That's my fear. Yeah.
All right. Next up on Blue Sky Pia, we have Alex. Hey, all. Got an observation into a question here. A big thread with a lot of New World arcs, and the last 4 arcs overall, have been one side having a traitor in the mist. So my question involving that is, do you think we have one currently, such as Gunko or even Harold? Back to the Gunko as the mole or something.
Yeah, we've got candidates on multiple sides here for that, I guess.
I'm fully in the Harold is bad camp. I think there's a reason why.
You think so?
I think there's a reason why Loki killed him. I think there's a reason, again, Harold was trying to make the entire country pacifists and not want to fight, and Elbaf is the strongest nation in the world. If you take out that superpower by pacifying them all, and then there was the summoning circle in the castle in front of Harold's throne. There's too much there where I think Harold is bad. Personally,
well, the summoning circle.
I think the government has orchestrated a conspiracy to frame Harold, and Harold has sworn his son to honor his choice to participate in the whatever blackmail.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Or something like that. That's
that is a very, very Oda method there.
And speaking of very Oda, I have been thinking is this going to turn out to be something when we find out the truth of what happened in the throne room? Is it going to be another Harold was manipulated or controlled by someone else, a la Doflamingo, or Oda has done that?
Like when Odin was doing the dancing and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Except we're in the dark. The readers are in the dark.
Right.
So 2 things. First of all, it's Harold the Horrible, so I mean, obviously he's
King Hagar, long may he reign.
King, yeah. No, but more importantly, so I'm gonna speak out both sides of my mouth here and say, was there any proof? On one hand, was there any proof that the summoning circle was there to begin with, or if it was something that was created because of where they showed up? For example, the ones with Saturn and everyone, those appeared. They were not previously there. But on the other hand, yeah, either way, whether or not that's true, that they were there before or not, why the throne room? Why in that specific spot? I am with Ken. I either think that he was blackmailed into doing something for the government, but either way, he was working on behalf of the government, whether voluntarily or involuntarily. I am more than convinced. I think it has been laid out very clearly. There
was even that throwaway line where I think one of the Holy Knights said, a chapter or two ago, "Oh, you here visiting Harold's grave?" Or they're on a first name basis with the guy. There's something.
Well, does he have a last name?
The Horrible.
Oh, right. Oh, you know what?
I think there's much more to him. I'm just waiting for the eventual Loki flashback where we find out what happened in that throne room where all the other giants died. Jarl got the sword in his head. There's more to that story that we're obviously in the dark about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm back at Gunko. Why is she most afraid of Nika, though, if she's on the side of the revolutionaries? Although I guess that is possible.
Yeah,
Two things can be true.
Yeah, two
Gunko-
things can be true.
Gunko really preferred pre-Gear 5 One Piece, where it was just the gum.
You know what? I
fruit,
get it.
And now
Yeah.
Nika,
Jinbei's not the only one who reads the manga.
she really hates the story now. She thinks Gear 5 is
Okay, well that's a little. It's I really love Gear 5. I just hate the explanation of the fruit. It pisses me off, but okay.
I'm fine with it, and I think that it's going to be a further. I think there's more to it still later on.
I do too.
I need there to be another element,
Another layer.
to balance it back out.
I'm almost convinced, not to get too off topic, I am almost fully convinced that Oda really did not plan the Nika thing until, maybe right
Well,
before
yeah, I mean,
Wano.
like you would have dropped that a lot sooner. If,
Yeah, like it's very odd he did not. It's like it doesn't feel Oda. It doesn't. I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit of a missed opportunity, but here we are. What's next, Ken?
And our last Blue Sky Pia is from Chico D. Mar. I have a question for my nephew, who's a One Piece fan. What do you think the Holy Knights are? He knows they're servants of Emu, but what are they? What are their place amongst the Celestial Dragon Order? Love your show. Oh, thank you, Chico Damar. So, where do the Holy Knights rank in terms of like the hierarchy?
I mean,
they're like the CP
High.
0 or CP9 or
No,
Yeah.
but he was able to
of
execute.
specifically the Celestial Dragons.
He was able to execute Don Quixote Mioscar, not to mention him.
Yeah, so they are Celestial Dragons.
Yes. I think they're the cops of the, like the security force of the Celestial Dragons.
Right.
I mean, so was Aegis.
Right.
Well, Cypher Pole is an intelligence agency, so like.
But they've got the James Bond license to kill.
That was
Yeah.
CP9.
Yeah.
I mean CP02. I think they really
so
could all murder
a
if they want.
Celestial Dragon agent, a Celestial Dragon cop is allowed to kill other Celestial Dragons if they deem it necessary for their justice or whatever.
The fact,
I mean, this is it's a manga, so like when fleshing out your world with a bunch of different groups, when they all exist within the same system, they tend to be just a directly vertical hierarchy. Like you don't get a lot of complex, like this side can override this one. It's not like balance of powers or anything like that. So I do feel like okay, we have Emu, we have the Five Elders, and then we have the rest of the Celestial Dragons. These guys clearly go in between the Five Elders and the normal Celestial Dragons.
That's
That's
just
how I view it.
the fact that Garling got promoted from head of the Holy Knights to
Right.
Five
There you
Elder,
go.
it seems like a direct translation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I at the very least, it's a prominent group
Yes.
within the Celestial Dragons. I mean,
They're like the Supreme Court.
So
And
Sure.
and the elders are the president.
I think it's more. I'm trying to think of.
And
like,
Emu is the secret. The Patriots AI.
oh, the
that
joke
chooses the president.
Okay. I'm trying to. It's hard to think of an analogy that. I mean, I think you got to think of this like in a monarchical way because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also interesting to think like the Celestial Dragons generally, I assume, don't have any jobs except for like they don't have a role to play. I think is more what I mean because obviously,
Yeah, there's
employment-
benefiting from the fact that their ancestors.
right.
Yeah,
They're
there's a
slovenly.
British nobility. Yeah.
Yeah, they're inbred. They're awful. The sun will murder them, and by that I mean Nika, or you need a high SPF is what I mean. They're very pale. That's what I'm saying. British nobility. Anyway, Ken, is there anything else?
no, that's the last one, Zach.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I wonder how much Oda thinks about it or has it. Like he must, because he gets way too into things like that. He has a special brain that thinks about that. Okay, that'll do it for Piece Together. Why don't we round off the show? This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 862 for March 31st, 2025. Ken, it was great having you on. We'll see you next March.
Thank you.
Yeah. Just have to right out of the gate. Thank you all for coming on the show, including Ken, Sam, Steven. I'll throw the plugs to you in a minute, but first, please subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We still have our free trial program open, so you get 7 days free of that awesome extra One Piece Podcast goodness. And I'll say, great sketches from Joey this week, of course. Really good banter between segments this week. You're really missing out if you're not listening to the full extended cut of every episode of the podcast. The extended cut includes us being stupid and talking about alternate.
So it's more of the same.
It's more of the same.
That's the whole episode.
Yeah, but like another half hour of it every week. So you could, if you need more One Piece podcast, it's good stuff. Let's go through how to contact everyone. Ken, what are you up to? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd, pretty much anywhere under KindKing01. That's my handle literally everywhere. It's very good for searching. Not much going on nowadays. Last year I worked on the One Piece Art Collab Volume 2. That wrapped up back in October, and we're about ready to put out the final product in the next week or so. So keep out a lookout on the old site everyone uses, at OP Collab, for that when that comes out. I'll post that on my Blue Sky as well, so you'll see it everywhere.
Okay. Thank you, Ken. Sorry, just reminded me of something. Sam, where can people find you?
They can find me on Blue Sky at LC Sam, and they can find me on the other site that isn't Blue Sky at Lucky Chainsaw.
Steven.
Find him on the floor too.
Yeah, I think he's sunk.
I'm on a couch. This is a couch.
You are completely horizontal.
No, I don't see anything. There's nothing there.
My legs are stretched out.
I've seen your feet a few times during this. Yes.
My feet. I can show my feet.
Okay, I don't.
Let the listeners be titillated by their imagination.
Okay.
Steven.
All right.
You sounded incredulous.
I was.
If you happen to use the Shonen Jump or Manga Plus apps or their websites, every week you can read Akane Banashi. Most weeks you can read One Piece. Every other week you can read Trillion Game, and every month you can read Shoha Shoten. Those are the simulpubs that I work on, in addition to all the other volume only series of manga that I work on, and light novels. So check all those out if you like those series.
Steven only gets assigned to great series, and it's true.
These days, yeah. I've been lucky.
Yeah. Vinland Saga I have on my shelf, and maybe this is the time to do it, to read it, because it would be, okay, relevant. It's not like
be polite. Yeah.
You know me. It's really, once I get into it, I'm really into it, but it's really hard for me to get into something. Like, I need to get really, just shoved into it, like Zelda. You could, what was I going to say? You could follow us at the One Piece Podcast, at One Piece Podcast, really anywhere on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, if you still use that. We're at Blue Sky at OnePiecePodcast.com. Tumblr, which we haven't updated, but we have it. And I don't know, the other places. We're on Skype until it goes away, which is, I think, already happened in a lot of places. You could call us at our phone number there, and we will be doing a special voicemail episode or segment in the near-ish future. I am saving them all. Do not worry. Try not to make them too time sensitive. Don't make them necessarily super time sensitive, though, because we might be playing them in a week or 2 or 3. But you could call us at our phone number, 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime with your questions, comments, theories, or why it was ESPN's Jaka Jams. I call Steven out on that one. I didn't find that myself, but Steven did. And please keep listening. We have some really great guests coming up in the next few weeks, including Dr. Gomez. Salty DK Dan is returning, and more. I could promise you that we will continue podcasting until One Piece ends in 2076. Until then, though, my name is Zach. Oh wait, it's just me. Actually, that reminds me. I should do this at the end. We already said it, but I want to give a big congratulations to Alex and his new expanded family. I mentioned it during the manga, but he had the baby over the week between episodes. So please give him all of your congratulations. And we will miss him, but he is in a better place. Changing diapers.
It'll be a grand adventure.
No, it is. It is a grand adventure. I'm super happy for him. But until next week, everyone, my name is Zach. We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye. No one could hear you waving, Ken.
See you next March.
That's the episode.